I'm going to show you something that 0.4% of Australian investors only know about, and that's why they're capitalizing and purchasing property after property in a short period of time. They're getting consistent growth every single year, which is double-digit growth, which is allowing them to release the equity and use that equity to buy another property. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know and what doesn't get spoken about on podcasts or YouTube channels, or you don't hear it in books or read it in books. This is something that you need to understand, and that is going to help you build wealth 10 times faster than the average Australian investor. Now, this is something that, that a lot of people do not know about. 0.4% of Australian investors own 3 or more investment properties. Okay, and they're doing something right. So if you want to be in the top 0.4% of Australian investors that own 3 or more investment properties, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to understand. Now, I'm going to be talking about market timing. Now, there's a thing called a 5-year boom phase that we use here at Fresh Start Advisory. It helps us locate areas that are starting their growth phase at that particular time. The 5-year growth phase is something that starts and will continue for 5 years. During that 5-year period, there's going to be consistent growth, double-digit growth, so 10% or more. Okay, that's what I mean by double-digit growth. During that period, you're going to get some massive growth, but then there will be a slowdown after that 5 years. That slowdown can be trending sideways, or it can be trending downwards. During that, you do not want to be getting in that market, because by doing so, you're going to cost yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars. The aim of the game of property is to invest into a market and make sure you get there in year one, ride the wave of capital growth, and then, make sure you're getting into other markets while those markets are starting their new growth phase. Every market is completely different. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind. You might have a council area, an LGA where you live. In that council area, each suburb has different times where their growth phase has started, and you will see different time and different trends. So I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know so you can become a successful property investor. So like I touched on already, we've talked about this 5-year boom window. The 5-year boom window that consists of 2 boom phases in an LGA, which is a local council area. Every 15 or 20 years, this happens for a particular LGA, which is your council area. So stay with me here. During that phase, during that 20-year period, there's going to be these 2 market cycles that are going to have massive growth. Okay, and then it's going to slow down, like I've said. If you get in at year 3 or 4, and then at year 5, it continues the growth phase, but then year 6, it slows down. And then year 7, it starts to slow down even more and it starts to trend down. You have cost yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars because you're leveraging your money. Remember, it's property. You're putting a deposit down and then you got the rest is your leveraged. So the aim of the game is to get into a market, time that market correctly so you capitalize. When you time it correctly, you win on that capital growth. So then the next following year, you can release the equity and use that equity to buy another property. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by this. And here's the first market that I'm showing you for an example. Frankston is 40 kilometers southeast of Melbourne. Okay, the 5-year boom window happened from 2013 to 17. This was the first boom window. 78% capital growth in 5 years. Unbelievable. As you can see here, from 2013 to 17, you can see that there was growth. Now, some of these markets didn't have double-digit growth. This is from a whole suburb area. If we look at from a individual suburbs in the Frankston region, there was suburbs that were having over 10% capital growth. But as you can see, they had some significant growth. And then from 2018, the market started to drop off. So for 3 years, you've seen, you had a 6%, you had a negative 15%, and then you had 6%. So if you got in at 2018, okay, the market grew 13%, depending what time you got in at the beginning or towards the end of 2018. Then you just seen a downward trend. So that means there's 3 years there that your property hasn't produced any capital growth that you can release the equity and go use that equity to buy more property or to use the equity for your own personal goods. If it's buying a new car, going on a family holiday or whatever it may be. So this is something to keep in mind. You want to be getting in at 2013, 14, and that was a time to get in and ride the wave of capital growth. And then During that period, you would have probably released equity from year 1 or 2 to buy into another market. Here's another market, another different market, completely different again. This is called Gympie, 170 kilometers north of Brisbane. Okay, regional town just past the Sunshine Coast. Gympie's just started its boom phase, and this is a beginning to show you. As you can see, from 2012 to 2019, it's done nothing. It's trended sideways. Look at this graph. All of a sudden, you're seeing this massive spur. Now, this is because of government policies. This is because of infrastructure projects. And I'm going to explain to you and how to identify this, not just by graphs, but how to target this in a later video. Doing this is going to help you understand in your mind, okay, look at this market. What is it doing? No, we're not making an informed. We're making an informed decision. We're not taking any guesses here. Important to understand that. It started its growth phase. Now, you don't want to be getting into Gympie. Very great market, affordable market. It's starting to be a bit unaffordable. But you don't want to be getting into that market now. You've missed out on the 2 years of consistent growth, if not 3. We're in 2022 now. So there's 3 years you've missed out here of consistent double-digit growth. And I'm going to show you how to pick these markets. But this is something I wanted to show you and give you an understanding. Another market, Hobart. From 2012 to 18, 66% in 5 years. This is a region of Hobart. So if we look at it from a suburb level, there was markets that grew 150% in 5 years. 150%. Some suburbs grew 155% in 5 years, which is unbelievable. But I'm just showing you from a regional area, from a whole area of the city. If you look from 2012 to 2017, you're seeing consistent double-digit growth. From 2017, that's the time you want to be getting into that market. You're seeing from 2018 to 20, the market's done nothing. And so this is something to keep an eye out for, because people, what they do, they may listen to the news. They will listen to the news, read news articles, and they hear all this information. They hear this market's doing well, and they get in at the wrong time. 2016, it was all over the news that there was, Hobart's going for a boom. It's one of the best capital cities that are growing at the moment. 2016, if you got in at 2016, you've just cost yourself over 35% of growth, if not more. That is unbelievable. So this is something you want to make sure you're absolutely making an informed decision. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. We can't see when the very beginning of the market's going to start. But we can make an informed decision and time the market from a holistic point of view by looking at things that I'm going to show you. So this is something that you need to know so you can take advantage of the market. Like I said, 99% of Australian investors do not use this. Other buyers agents don't know a lot about this as well. And this is something that we pride ourselves on. This is because we take an in-depth knowledge of looking at something from history trends, looking at it and bringing it to the future as well, and seeing where we are at a market and what's influencing the market. There's a 72-step process, but I'm going to give you something to help you so you can move on with this research and actually find and understand what is happening at a market right at this point in time, so you can make an informed decision. Click the details below, enter in your details, and you'll be taken to another video. There's going to be more information there, and there's going to be absolutely more value that you're going to get to understand about these property markets and how to understand that 5-year boom window and how to capture that growth.